Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is another normal game sent in by the fans to Lifesaglitchtv at gmail.com. Mr. Maximus Black.
Yup.
Hit me up with the sound of playing Pokemon again, only to remember that you can't just go around the Snorlax and need something to get past the sleeping asshole. Up here in the top right, we have the red Zerg SnorlaxSC, and in the bottom left, we have the blue Protoss BoGKush.
You know,
wow, okay.
Funny enough, Snorlax is my favorite Pokemon.
For real?
Yeah.
That's random. Boy, when did you decide that Snorlax was your favorite Pokemon?
I think when I got older, like when I got out of Pokemon, and then the vibe of Snorlax, like he just gives zero fucks. He just sleeps. He's overweight. He doesn't really do much. And there's just something...
Life goals?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So...
Incredible. That was a good impersonation. You know, it sounded good. That was a good Snorlax.
Thank you.
Good Snorlax. Well, do we have anything for the fine folks at home? We don't have questions this week, of course, because we never get a chance to do the podcast. Mr. Black is going to go cry watching Celine Dion again. Actually, no, she's not doing her shows anymore, is she?
No. I'm gonna go watch UFC.
She's still sick.
Yeah. So that's gonna happen. We're actually recording this, guys, at like 9:30 in the morning, which is very weird. I haven't actually ran StarCraft this early in the morning in years. Like, I mean, there used to be a time where I'd wake up first thing in the morning and I'd be right grinding on ladder. But I will say it's probably been, jeez, man, at least 7 years. I would say 7 years since I've had StarCraft open at these hours. So
bright and early. I am to work. I came back home. I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, fuck it. Went back to bed. Thought I was going to be able to sleep a little bit longer. That didn't happen. It's so hot in this fucking house and humid, and we don't have access to our heat pump right now because we have to wait to get it cleaned this week because it was spitting out some not good shit into the room.
Great.
And so I was like, oh, fuck me. All right, so we've been suffering without a heat pump for the last few days. So it was a very warm night, but we we survived, I guess. Well, looks like our blue Protoss BoGKush.
Adam, you don't know what warm is yet. You're going to the Philippines, bro. You're about you thought, you know what, this is training for you. This is like, 2-3 days of just being miserably hot and sticky and nasty. Bro, you're about to go to the promised land where it ain't gonna be nothing but that.
The hot, uncomfortable, and just high humidity will be my life for 3 weeks coming up at the end of the month. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm gonna be just every day. It's just gonna be it'll be fine when we're on like the beaches and shit. Clearly, because you're on a beach and it's not the end of the world. But going to like the market or going out and around if we're in Manila and stuff, and it's like 95% humidity, which you would think at that point that's just rain. Nah, it's just lung choking fucking humidity, and that's why I said to Amber, she was booking this shit originally. She was like, what would you like between these two hotels? This one costs $50 less. I said, I don't care if it's $500 more. If that bitch has got a fucking phenomenal amount of air conditioning and a big bed, get that one.
Yes.
I ain't playing around with a fucking futon in a dream on the bottom of somebody's fucking floor in the middle of that heat.
No.
So we are going to be air conditioned a lot of the time, but yeah, dude, it's going to be even M is apprehensive.
Damn.
And she's used to that shit.
Damn. You know it's bad.
And so I'm going to be
when the native is like, nah, this ain't it.
Yes,
I've come accustomed to Canada. I don't want to go back, but I have to go back.
I just bought all my shirts and shit are like linen blend to try to survive. I tried to buy shirts that wouldn't show off the fact that I'm sweating like a whore in church. It's not gonna matter. I'm gonna be walking around like a fucking greased up pig for 3 straight weeks, guaranteed. And on top of that, of course, I'm pale as shit, so between all the sweat and the fact that I'm translucent, I'm gonna look like somebody lit the goddamn beacons and Gondor called for 8. Every Filipino for 5 fucking miles around me gonna be staring at me taking pictures. It's gonna be a wonderful time, though.
You know what else is a wonderful time? StarCraft is, Adam. And finally, we have some movement on the map. SnorlaxSC, which is a familiar name. I think this guy has been part of the community for many of years.
Yes.
I think we may have cast him like a decade ago. But he is coming back, and he's ready to make his mark back here on LAGTV, coming down the middle of the map with 12-ish Roach. Probe dead. And here we go. It's going to be 2 base Protoss versus 3 base Zerg. Standard stuff. He does have Blink. There was a game that we cast there, I think the last one, where he just refused to get Blink, and it really hurt. You're going to see a massive difference here. Wants to be careful of, oh yeah. I was going to say, he wants to be careful of too much of a forward Blink, because he's going to lose Stalkers, but it's such a fair trade that, I mean, it's whatever. Ooh, that was something. I mean, he didn't need to do that forward Blink. He could have just started blinking back some of the, hey, you know, style points. Style points. But this is the difference. This is the difference maker. Blink just completely changes the game with Stalker play versus Roaches. Just regular Stalkers versus Roaches, especially on creep, it's usually not going to go your way unless you are very, very skilled at microing individual Stalkers and sort of running around. It's very, very tough. So very easy defend there from Bog or Mr. Kush, we'll call him. And I'm happy to see that he immediately went and grabbed a 3rd. So, you know, a lot of the times Protoss players are really just StarCraft players in general. When they get a good engagement like this, and they've killed off so many of the opponent's units and have taken minimal losses, they immediately think, oh, this is my chance. I'm going to win the game. I'm just going to A-move. That's just not going to happen. You got to run from this side of the map up here. Now, if that fight happened here, different story. But it happened over here, and with 3 hatches, Zerg can make units very, very quickly. And a lot of times with those attacks comes really bad macro on the backhand of it as well. So if you lose the engagement, suddenly you find yourself in the same situation you just put your enemy in just a moment ago. So I really like the fact that he went and got an expansion, did a couple warp cycles. I would like to see him have a Robo with, he does have a Robo, but I would like to see the Warp Prism come up here before this attack. And he could find himself in a little bit of trouble if he overcommits.
Yeah, having the Warp Prism would have made a big difference here because let's say that he gets more of an even trade. That's a very aggressive blink forward that almost got in the way of his charge lots there. That was a little too early, and now he's finding out that he shouldn't have done that. And now he's going to back out. And just as Mr. Black was saying, if he had brought the Warp Prism up, he would have got one more full warp cycle in, and at the very least, if the battle was going slightly more in his favor, he'd be able to continue to bring units into the fold. Now, he did feel like he definitely had a little bit of a shot there, I imagine, as we just as an original attack from Snorlax went through, his +1 had ended. He just got charge lots in, but yeah, again, absolutely having that Warp Prism would have helped him. Maybe even an Immortal or two, which he now I think has.
Yeah, he has one here.
This is another awkward kind of retaliation from Snorlax. He needs to be careful too.
Yep. I wouldn't mind seeing a forward blink now, pick off 2-3 more Roaches, and back off. Don't want to make the same mistake of beelining it up there and chasing this. He might do one more forward blink, but he's got to watch it, because now he's going to be on creep. Forward blink to kill what? 3 Roaches. He's going to lose about 5, 6, 7.
Forward blink to kill himself.
8, 9. I mean, he just did the worst blink, put himself into a corner. Now the Roach is coming up from behind. And once again, I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy here. He just keeps doing the fucking same thing over and over and over again. Obviously, he can't hear what I'm saying, but you would think that he would learn from the first time and then the second time that he's made this mistake, and he does it yet again. This game is looking awfully good for Snorlax at the moment.
Yeah, if I'm Snorlax at this point, you know, we've done a lot of back and forth here. I've seen my opponent make some interesting engagement decisions. We know that he's started to invest in some Immortal. Maybe it's time to secure a 4th. or something of the like. Did I just see him put a second hatch just below that?
He just put down, he put down 2 macro hatches here. I think
he wants to just end the game without going 4 base.
Well, you know what? I think he kind of has to at this point. I would have loved to have seen Snorlax grab a 3rd and 4th right after that last throw, like instantaneously. We got to remember, he is still on 3 base, and Protoss is on 3 base. If he continues to go this route, Snorlax will eventually lose, so he's got an abundance of minerals. He decided to put down 2 macro hatches, and just like what you said, Adam, he's just going to try and end this game. And I think this is the proper way to do it after several mistakes. Oh, does a forward blink.
Well, it wasn't. It was the proper idea, but he walked directly into the entire Protoss ball there. That's another really.
Why does he keep doing this? He's just throwing the game.
On the forward blink.
He's throwing.
He just well, I mean, he had him running, and he could have just said, okay, that's I actually got a bit lucky there. But instead, he forward blinked, and now it allows Snorlax to come back.
It's
now
over.
He's got the entry into the house, and that's going to be pretty much it, because the Protoss won't be able to keep up with production, especially with 2 macro hatches. Snorlax could just produce friggin' Zerglings for the rest of his life, and it would be more than enough to help clean this up. So there you go. I get just the blinks. Too much. Yeah. It's like in his head he's just thinking, you know, the thing to do is, as soon as you see him running, I have to blink. I have to get more value out of this retreat. But, you know, at some point, you got to be careful and not just throw units away, which unfortunately, BoGKush, who might have to get off the fucking Kush next time he plays, was just forward blinking at every opportunity, whether it was good or bad.
Yeah, he does it again. It's like he just refuses to learn from his mistakes. These roaches do a ton of damage to Stalkers. Stalkers aren't meant to really be overly aggressive unless you are super ahead in an engagement. And it was almost as if Snorlax was baiting these. It was like Snorlax was taking bad fights, going, oh shit, I'm in trouble, I'm going to run. And then, you know, Kush is like, I'm high, I'm gonna blink forward and die. And that's what's happening. I have no idea, this is over right now, I have no idea why Kush just didn't stay right here during that engagement, used his shield batteries, had his Immortal in behind with those 2 cannons, and then just blink back 1-2 Stalkers at a time. Dude, we haven't seen Kush do any single Stalker micro, not once. He's just double-clicking on all of them, flexing his B, and then blinking. That's it. There's no sexiness to it. It's just all aggression, it ain't it.
All I can hear in my background, now we've been talking about code, all I can hear in the background is fucking Snoop Dogg shit. Over and over again in my mind. Well, unfortunately, for BoGKush, that's going to be it. And there it is. He leaves the game on just a pure roach mass. And like you were talking about, Mr. Black, you know, stalkers are kind of, they're kind of bait in terms of what they look like they can do versus what they can actually do, or what they look like they're capable of versus not what they're actually not capable of. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. You know, they look like a more robust unit than they actually are, which is exactly why they were given Blink to begin with. You know, the fact that they have Blink should tell you immediately that, you know, when Blizzard created the unit, as amazing as everyone likes to, you know, jump at Blizzard for their balance over the years, they have Blink because it's their mobility to make up for the fact that they aren't exactly the strongest unit in the game. On the other hand, roaches are meant to literally, like many Zerg units, act as a giant fucking ball. And they are relatively tough and durable on top of that, but they're not as fast and not as mobile unless they're on creep. That's their trade-off. And every time you see in BoGKush throw away all of the advantage of his stalkers, never using the advantage during the fight, and then attempting to just use that what seems to be an advantage on the chase off creep, and just lost so many units over the course of the game that eventually he got to a point where that mistake cost him the entire game.
You're damn right it did. I don't really have anything else to add, guys. That was, I do believe, Platinum. So, you know, pretty solid Platinum game one way or another. Lots of action back and forth.
Honestly, yeah.
So, yeah, pretty solid. Remember, guys, send in those replays at lifesaglitchtv@gmail.com. I will say this. We have had a ton of 2v2 replays. As of right now, we're not casting any 2v2 replays. I'm not like the problem is with 2v2, and I've looked at a couple, is the games are typically too long. The sweet spot, just so that you guys know, is like under 20 minutes. It is rare for us to cast something that is like 28 minutes, 30 minutes, 33 minutes. It's gonna
be fucking goddamn incredible.
Yeah,
before we enter the 30-minute realm.
Yeah, and let's be real, guys. We're casting your guys' replays. This isn't a 30-minute, Korean high-level, ultimate level, game. This is like typically 30 minutes of what the fuck are we watching, and typically on those, there's like 10, 15 minutes of literally nothing. So, if I were you, I wouldn't waste your time sending in 2v2 replays unless it is something absolutely spectacular and you can let me know in an email, like briefly, and then it might pique my interest. But I just want to give you guys a heads up because I've got about 100 2v2 replays in the inbox and it just ain't happening. So keep sending in those replays, though. The Nangs and the Will Cheese fails, stuff like that. But I just want to give you guys a heads up so that you're not wasting your time and you have the best chance to get your game cast so you kind of know our criteria. And outside of that, I don't have anything else to add, Adam. What do you have?
Ba-da-da-da-da.